So today we are yet to get our friends online. Only 3 of you is with me. So we'll wait for another 1 or 2 minutes until others get on. In the meantime, I'll brief you that what exactly we are like doing right now. So far, we have been discussing some topics which are relevant to project financing, right? Like working capital financing, break-even analysis, and last week actually we have done about financial statements and ratio analysis, which is very important session, as I mentioned in the last week also. Hope that you have started kind of some perusing kind of things that we have done, because we still to get a kind of a date about our examination. Probably it might be fallen in like September, I suppose, because the A-level exams also to be postponed. But anyway, now it's good that if we can start our whatever areas, the topics covered as soon as possible, because once we have done the syllabus and then when we are going to start it from the beginning, then it may be a bit difficult. So better that if we can start then and there, and if you do have any sort of questions, that we can sort it out while we do other sessions. As I told you in the beginning, so we try to do as much as past paper questions once we completed our normal sessions. Like we may have to do like another 4 or 5 sessions to cover the syllabus, but thereafter we can start the past paper questions. In the meantime, also, like I'll try to do 1 or 2 questions when we do the theory, like the presentations, and then probably you can get more idea on what we are learning. So today's session, or today or next week, so I'm planning to cover non-financial tools. If you remember correct, when we try to understand a project or project financing, so we need to be kind of be vigilant of not only financial aspects but also the non-financial aspects. For example, what about the like management involved in a project? What about like the market or the industry the particular project is operating? What about the environmental aspects? Right? What are the internal strengths, weaknesses, and what are the opportunities outside? Like those things are very important when we are planning a project, when we are planning to finance a project. Example, now let's say nobody would have thought about like COVID-19 pandemic would be a kind of a disaster for even existing and proposed businesses also, right? But you may not be able to forecast that kind of calamities. But if we have planned, if we have thought about, let's say when we are financing a project like say apartment, if we have thought about like what could happen, the collapse of the demand, maybe various reasons, right? But if there is a low demand or reduction of demand or nil demand, then what could be the option for the entrepreneur to service the loan or complete the project? So in that scenario, if you have thought about that, then break even apartment type is this much, and then they can do even 1 or 2 more units at a lower cost, so that break even would go. But you may have a kind of a demand, right, rather than pitching at original selling price. So like that, if we have done some kind of a scenarios, then we have a kind of a idea. In case of that sort of unexpected demand drop, we have a kind of a strategy. So like that, so in order to understand the environment, right, in order to understand the qualitative aspects of a project, so we need to know about non-financial tools. Having said that, I have to also tell not only the project, but also in other areas also, these non-financial tools are important. Let's say, actually what I'm doing is like I am taking a kind of some introduction, right, to the today's session, right? Let's say you want to, grow in your career as a banking professional, right? So probably it's good that, you think and what exactly that, is with me. If you want to go to next level, or if you want to go become a branch manager, regional manager, AGM in next 5 to 10 years, what should I do? So probably when we are trying to undertake that kind of a study, it is good that you think about what are your positives, what are your negatives, or what are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threat, like a SWOT, we call a SWOT matrix, SWOT analysis, right? So think about yourself and apply the SWOT analysis to you. So then it is more strategic, right? You list down your strengths, you list down your weaknesses, or opportunities inside and outside, or threats that you might face in when you are moving across your career. So then you may be able to understand, right? I have so many strengths, but similarly I have some weaknesses also. So how I'm going to attack the weakness, right, compared to the strength I have. So like that, you try to set or plan or implement some strategies so that you can move forward without much difficulty. That's kind of some planning. So we call strategic planning, future planning, right, or business planning. You can do, I mean, name it in different way, but the ingredients are maybe same. So I just wanted to share that, like, that side of a study could be similarly applicable for the business. Maybe ongoing business, yes, you can do a SWOT analysis, or maybe new project or new business, or I mean new venture. Again, you can do a SWOT analysis, right? So that basically gives you a kind of some idea about what would be my future in terms of qualitative aspects that I need to face. So that is a kind of the applicability of these non-financial tools. There may be so many, like SWOT analysis, pestle analysis, Boston Consultancy Group Matrix, BCG Matrix, Porter's Five Forces model, or maybe generic strategies of Ansoff, or maybe a product life cycle. So there may be so many things available in the whatever theoretical space, and what's important for us is to select most suitable technique or tool in a given situation, and then apply and see how I'm going to plan my future, how I'm going to plan my project in times to come. Another example, say now you want to start a what do you call it's a tea factory, right, or a hotel. Then rather than finding investor or make a joint partner or making a joint venture, you try to select a place and try to find a banker, and you just start it and go on like that, and then you construct it, and then you see your markets, and then if you're unable to run it alone, then you try to find a managing partner, like management company, and you might hand over them to run it. Like, so that is like without planning, you just you proceed with. But rather than taking that route, say you try to do kind of some SWOT analysis with respect to your project. What are the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat in terms of the hotel project, in terms of the people like management, market, environment, and all that. So you do a SWOT analysis, you come up with some kind of findings. Similarly, you can do a pestle analysis, which is a bit of outside hotel organization or the hotel, and they look about overall tourism industry. So other, like macro perspective, macro variables which have an impact on hotel project. So that's another study. Or maybe you can undertake about Porter's Five Forces to understand the present or the future competition in terms of particular hotel which you are going to locate. So see, now you have different tools available in order to judge the competition, in order to judge the management and operation through the SWOT, in order to judge the environment or the industry that you are planning to involve, right? So you have several tools, techniques, models, now findings. Then you sit together, maybe kind of some professionals, experts, and you think about, right, what exactly available, what is there for you, and then you might select, I mean, rather than going to 5-star, it's good to do a 3-star. Rather than doing it alone, it's going as a joint venture, or rather than managing it alone, it's good to give it to a management company, and also that you can link with some like what do you call booking.com kind of people, where that you can get the kind of people to get the tourist attraction and maybe system requirements, right? So many things. Now you have found, like, the what's the way forward, like that. Then sometimes you have to revisit the cost also. Now you see, earlier it is like a requirement of 750. Now it might have come down, or it might have gone up with some additional requirements, right? So now you know exactly what is, like, the way forward, what is the cost, what is the the things that I need to do prior to starting the kind of a hotel, prior to starting a financing partner, what kind of the negotiation that I should do with the banker, what could be the, like, my break-even sales, break-even points. So many things now you'll be able to come up. So basically, when you do these kind of studies, now, yes, we can do about financial analysis like last week we did, and then non-financial analysis, I mean, using the tools that are available. So when you do these kind of thing, you can do a better plan about a project or whatever you do. So that is the pretext that I want to give you, the context that we are going to discuss today. So it is very important in terms of exam, as well as in terms of practical application of these non-financial tools, right? So having said that, we are planning to start SWOT pestle analysis today, probably next week we try to understand the BCG and Porter's Forces modeling, right? So prior to start it, any thoughts, any ideas, any suggestions? What do you know about, say, SWOT analysis? Have you come across any SWOT analysis exercises previously? Or if so, where you have found that? Any thoughts? Is it only in banking, or have you found out in any other disciplines that you have worked so far? Where you have come across? I mentioned that, in personal life, yes, we can use the SWOT analysis to see whether what is your present status quo and what you want to be, and how you can, use the SWOT tool in order to move from today to maybe next level, or right present to future. Maybe you can plan your future based on what you have, or that exactly what are the areas that you need to improve, and then you can use some of your synthesis to attack that, and you can easily move to next level without any hindrances, because you know exactly what to do. So other than that personal life, have you come across any applications in SWOT analysis that you have done so far? What are the other disciplines that we can use it? So it's like this, as I was telling you, let's say in a kind of a organization management, and if you want to do a management strategy, yes, you can use SWOT analysis. Or let's say you are in a branch, right, bank we are working with. So we talk about 2-year, 3-year, 5-year strategy. So probably you might do a kind of a SWOT analysis to see whether what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, right? And what we could do, like if you want to make, say, 200 branch network to 250 branch network, so what we could do? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What is the opportunity, like the threat? So you can use that as a management strategy. Sometimes when you talk about, say, why you want to go to 200 to 250 branches, maybe increase reach. So then there may be alternative comes, rather than having so many branches in a lot of areas in Sri Lanka. So you might use IT platform to reach, or I mean alternative methods to reach the new customers. So those things would come through kind of a SWOT analysis, because you know that you are very good at maybe IT, good at IT platform, right? So then you are very good at marketing. So then it's that good that you use that kind of a platform, because rather than you go for a so many branches and with so many people, infrastructure and all that could be very costly for you. Maybe you are a medium-sized bank, but if you take about a bigger bank like Bank of Ceylon or People's Bank, so no harm, because they can even open up a branch and within a 6 months they can break it even, but not like a smaller bank. So then you are a smaller bank and then you think about going out and getting more customers. The right strategy, not going for so many branches. So it could be some alternative methods to reach customers. So those things could come through this kind of a SWOT analysis. That's a kind of management application that you can think about. Marketing also similarly, you can, it's a marketing company, so you can use that SWOT analysis and see whether what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threat in this marketing field. Where if I go to the do this type of marketing, this type of product development, this type of market development, what exactly I should do? Maybe the competitors, maybe generally the people do different thing. But when you undertake a SWOT analysis in your perspective, in your discipline, so you come across this is the correct way, right way. I just want to say that because there are so many applications in different discipline. It could be marketing, it could be management, it could be self, right? It could be banking, right? So it means that it's a universal tool, SWOT analysis, right? But only thing is that you need to undertake with a clear mind, open mind, and then when you come up with findings, then you have to be a bit objective, right? So example, say you have two banks, and then let's say we try to compare HNB and commercial. So one of the censuses, HNB would come and say, I have so many branches, maybe 300 odd branch network. And then commercial also come with, I have kind of high number of branches, say 325. Now let's say that you are trying to compare HNB versus commercial in terms of branch network. What do you think? Is it a strength for HNB, or it is not a kind of a strength for HNB? Because one is having 300 branches, one is having 325 branches. So the HNB would come and say, I have 300 branches. Comparatively, I can, fight with commercial because I have bigger number of branches. Are you in agreement with that? Yes or no? Yeah, you are telling yes. So you mean to say Gayan tell no? Why? Why Gayan say no? Other two of the gentlemen say yes. Gayan is coming with another proposal. It's a digital channel, right? So here the argument is, now when you say I have 300 branches, the other guy is having 325 branches. It's not relatively. I am very strong in terms of branch network. We'll discuss, Gayan, for the next point that you have mentioned. For the time being, let's say, yeah, now in order to understand the SWOT as your strength, but if you say I have 300, whereas my competitor is having only 100, yes, obviously I have absolute advantage over that person because I can reach more. But when you have 300 and he is having 325, so I can't say that, so I am, very good in reaching the customer, because it's comparatively, we almost like 300, 325 is no more, like not a kind of a bigger things to boast. Hope you're getting my point, right? But when you say 300 to 100, yes, it's a very good strength. That's what I'm telling. When you are undertaking a SWOT analysis, so you need to be careful. Who is you are comparing? Who is your competitor? So HNB to maybe Union, number of branches are absolute critical determinant factor, because high, low. And when you say HNB commercial, probably they have an equal number of branches, then you can't outweigh the other because they have a presence in each area. But as Gayan suggested, if you want to compete with commercial, So you might use the alternative channels like digital reach, or you might go kind of internet banking, right? Some other cards or smart card option, right? Or easy pay kind of a thing. So then you go to the customer without the infrastructure, like without a branch network. Then you try to go and get more customers. And I want to make a point here. When you are like doing this SWOT analysis, we need to be careful, because yes, you have to understand what are my strengths. Absolute perspective, yes, it's a strength. When you say 300 branches in Sri Lankan context, yeah, it's a very good bank. So so many branches. But in relatively, you are comparing with the commercial, similar they have 325 branches. Then it's no more. But in vice versa, say you're a Bank of Ceylon, you have a very good brand name, or maybe you are affiliated with the government, right? So then you pretend you perceive as a government bank. Then you compare with some other bank like maybe say Pan Asia example. It's a private bank, and the brand, or its Pan Asia brand is not relatively acceptable compared to Bank of Ceylon brand. Then the brand name is very important. If the Bank of Ceylon is comparing with Pan Asia Bank, is government linked to a government affiliation, then people would say, yeah, my money is safe in terms of depositing Bank of Ceylon compared to Pan Asia. Then if you are in the Bank of Ceylon, then you are pitching the customer mind, say stable, stability. We are almost government, right? We are there and we have a good brand name. So then many people would come and keep the money even at a lesser rate compared to Pan Asia. You getting my point? That is the way that you use the SWOT analysis. Right? It's almost relatively you need to use this, not absolute perspective. And because I want to share those things, but is something, SWOT is good, but we sometimes never know how it is going to use it. So SWOT and absolute perspective, yes, you list it down and then you pick what are the most relevant strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threat in terms of competitor, in terms of comparable. Hope you have got it. Just I have got some comments. Anything that no, the same that you have answered on the previous question. Any questions before moving to the exact area? Okay, so then having brief the basic on that, so we will start like SWOT analysis. The SWOT analysis basically talks about some internal and external factors, right? So for internal and external environment, we are trying to scan it using the SWOT tool. So when you use the SWOT tool to scan this internal and external environment, you come up with SWs and Os and Ts, which could be used to support the strategic planning process. So internally, you can find strengths and weaknesses. Externally, you can find opportunities and threats. Some internal strength weaknesses like your maybe internal the staff, financing, technology, right? Or related stuff could be strengths and weaknesses. So externally, basically, you can find as opportunities and threats, maybe clients, suppliers, competitors, right? So those are the external factors that you can find. Similarly, going into the deeper, you can use the PESTEL in order to understand further the external environment. So basically, SWOT is an analysis that you try to use to scan or investigate the internal and external environment of the business in order to use the same for as a supporting initiative for strategic planning exercises in the organization. That's what generally SWOT analysis is there for. And SWOT is for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So then next question is, why we use this, right? It's like more structured analytical framework. I mean, so far that we have been discussing, why it's like more analytical, it's like a structured approach. Rather than you just talk about positives and negative, you can use the SWOT tool, SWOT framework to understand a particular situation much better. The other thing is, a SWOT can be used in conjunction with other non-financial tools, PESTEL, Porter's Five Forces, etc. Example, when you say SWOT, you might come up with about some findings about market, competition, competitors, and product strength, or something that you can come up when you undertake the SWOT analysis. Then you can expand it further using the Porter's Five Forces analysis, which are mainly aimed towards a competitor analysis. And then come up the PESTEL analysis. It's a kind of a tool that could be used to understand the external environment into greater detail. So SWOT can be a starter. The PESTEL would be a continuation. So you come up with, say, some things relating to environment, and then you, using the PESTEL tool, you go further scanning and find out what's the exact impact on the particular project, particular organization, particular venture. It helps to focus on areas of strength, recognize limitations, develop opportunities in the most promising directions. That's how the use of SWOT. It's simple, quick, easy to learn are some features of the SWOT analysis compared to other tools available in the market. So basically what we are trying to understand here is, because sometimes we are getting questions about what is SWOT tools, why it is important, where we are going to use, right? So that type of questions be given by the examiner. So in order to get the 5 marks, so you will be able to answer that type of question very easy, but you need to have your answer structured, pre-prepared before going to the exam, because since that everything is here, right? Then before moving to the synthesis and weaknesses detail, any questions? We are just understanding SWOT analysis. Any questions, any feedback, any thoughts, any things that you need to share with others? I mean, hope this is clear, because it's not difficult, but just want to get an opinion as I am always doing so. So if we don't have an opinion or questions, that we can move forward. Yeah, what are the limitations of SWOT? Yes, we will, yeah, that we need to be aware, right? I will, share it at the end of the presentation, or I may be commenting what one or two I am continuing here, Gayan, like this. Now, when you say the SWOT analysis, we talk about strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, right? So, as I was telling, this is simple and quick to understand and quick to learn. And also, we are trying to do this in more or less in a more simple way. Just to, take down some what are the strength, weaknesses kind of thing, but we are not going to deeper in scanning, because we can't go into deeper, because here we try to understand more the surface of it. So that might be a limitation. When you understand the Porter's and when you understand the Pestle, you know, because here we try to get things on surface, and it could be realistic or it could not be realistic also. As I was just telling before, when you say it's a strength, but when you are trying to compare, it is not a strength, right? In this strength also that I am in the third and fourth points are like this. First, we discussed, the strength is the resources, capabilities can be used as a basis for developing a competitive advantage. Characteristics that can be controlled. Those are some features of the strength. And then see last 2 points. Those are limitations, like don't be modest, be realistic. If you have any difficulty with this, try writing down a list of the characteristics of relevant company and its product. Some of these will hopefully be strength. Remember, I was telling I have 300 odd branches, I have skilled workforce, I have good financial base, my company's brand is superior. So you can list down something. But when you are trying to compare with somebody else in the same field in order to judge your competitive advantage, some of the strengths are not strength. You getting my point? Say 300 odd branches in absolute perspective in Sri Lankan banking context, anybody would say great, right? So many branches, you can do wonders like that. But then you come back and see, when you want to develop a market, when you introduce a product, when you reach to a kind of customer base, suppose your competitor is now Bank of Ceylon, because there is a market segment, Bank of Ceylon, and both you are planning to or intending to cater. But when you see that your competitor is Bank of Ceylon, this 300 odd branches is no more a strength. Getting my point? That is kind of a limitation that you need to think about. Strengths are not always strengths. In absolute, yes, strength, but in relative, may not be a strength. You need to be aware of it, or otherwise you will be in a trap. Second point, remember that all strengths offer an advantage over competing techniques. That not all strength. If all techniques generate global products, then although a strength, it's not an advantage. Very good point, right? Let's say say 10 years back, you talk about digital platform, you talk about digital banking. What do you think would be a strength at that time? Obviously, not many banks, even they did not think about what digital banking. I mean to say 10 years back. Then when you say I am into digital, I have digital platform, I have digital infrastructure. So then obviously you have a strength when, almost all the banks in Sri Lankan banking arena. But when come today, when you talk about digital platform and digitalization, digital customers, digital branch and all that, but it's not the absolute strength now. Why? When you talk about some other competitor bank also, now they also move to the digital. They also have the same technology available. Their know-how, skills, everything is with them now. Then it's not a strength for you right now. Hope I am getting what you want, right? So you understand, yes, strengths are because the capabilities, characteristics, things that you can find out, but when you in comparable mode, so some strengths are not strength as you think, you perceive. It's a kind of a limitation. One of the limitations that we are talking about. Later stage also, there are some we will discuss, but these are the things that you need to keep in mind. So somebody would ask about, so what is the absolute model? Do you agree? No. Because it's like, again, another model, another technique, but there may be pluses and minuses. Why the minus would come when you are trying to in a comparable mode. So absolute mode, yes, nobody is there to compare. It's a strength. If you're only bank in Sri Lanka, if you say I have 100 odd branches, it's yours, right? Because you can reach every customer. You are the like, monopoly in that sense. But vice versa, in practical scenario, there are so many other banks having 100 odd branches. So then it's not a strength for you. Before moving to weakness, any questions? Gan, have you got the answer? Thanks, Gan. What about others? Any questions before moving to the weakness? Okay. Right. Weakness. Some cases, the weakness may be the flip side of the strength. Example, state-of-the-art technology require a large capital investment. Automated technology may be considered a strength that other technologies don't share. It also may be considered a weakness if the large investment limits the financial resources available for training the specialists required to use the equipment or distribute the data, right? Weakness. I mean, weakness is something that you are, in general, you're not having right now. Or compared to others, your lack of it, the weakness. But again, weakness can be seen as a flip side of the strength. Example, like, say, state-of-the-art technology, right? So when you say automation, digital platforms, we talk about strength these days, right? Then it may be a weakness in other investment and other perspective, because you need a large investment. So then your financial resources should be very high. And again, you need a kind of an investment to train the people to use this equipment or distribute data. So that is again a kind of another problem you might be having, right? And yeah, like explain it further. Say when you are in a branch, when you talk about your digital technology and everything, so maybe very good that you can do a kind of a very good service to the customer. When customer comes and sit in front of maybe a computer, identification and everything be done, load the documents, get approval online within an hour or so, that you are getting a kind of a credit approval, right? And then on the other side, there should be some people to maintain the standards, look after some problems, doing some updates on these systems in case of emergency that you need to attend immediately. So then you need to have a kind of another sort of financial resources to maintain the people, because the high-end, high-skill expertise are needed to maintain or keep this level with the standard. So that's a weakness example, right? You mean to say that I am a digital bank. It's a positive, it's a strength. Simultaneously, the weakness could be, in order to have the digital mode going on, you need to have that equal qualified people. To maintain that, hire that, train that, you need a bigger, higher financial resources. That's a weakness, because in order to maintain this, you need this. But having said that, what if you don't have the digital platform? Then lesser cost in terms of investment, lesser cost in terms of maintenance, lesser cost in terms of maintaining a particular staff. But still you can go to some level. But think about, so at which level you need to move to the digital. Maybe right now it's not a requirement, though the competitor in digital mode. But you may need not to go to that level maybe today. At the 3 years time, yes, you can go to that level. But in the meantime, you can go to digital by not the automated version, but some other semi-automated kind of thing, locally developed. But still you can cater some kind type of customers, because your competition is not with that bigger company, bigger bank. You getting my point? So that's why this SWOT analysis is important. When you say that I am trying to compete, as Gayan suggested previously, when we wanted to reach customers, let's say commercial, Sampath, HNB, they can leverage through their branches because they have already branches. Well, let's say I am a Nation Plus Bank. I have only 90 odd branches. When I think about, fighting with HNB, they have 300 branches. Why not I also create or make some, 50 branches per year, and so 200 branches? Will it make a sense? No, no point. Creating branches, people, infrastructure, cost, and so, I mean, it's outweigh my, proposal return. Then I think about, why not go for the digital, right? No, maybe some digital fact flow. Credit card to reach to alternative channels to internet banking. So then you also in a position to fight with them to some extent at a comparatively lesser cost. And then you can reach and get some customers. So how we have arrived at is basically we have done kind of some analysis in the form of SWOT. Then we know what is our strength, what is our weakness. The weakness may be no branches, less branches. Strength may be I have some kind of good, brand, for example. Or maybe I don't have much financial resources, maybe my another weakness. Then opening up branches may not be practical because I don't have adequate financial strength or some other. Then what we can do is, yes, we may have a good local or inside IT development team. So when we have it, using a relatively low financial resources, we try to go to customer through digital means, automated mode. Then we can compare, and then we can, fight with 300 branch network of others. Similarly, we do something where these guys are going to the customer, having branches. We do digitally, we reach the customer. That's basically we need to understand how we are using this platform. So strength, weakness, opportunities. When it comes to the opportunities, if you think about strength, weaknesses are inside to the organization, opportunities and threats are outside to the organization, external to the organization. That is also important when we understand the SWOT model. Analyzing the external environment may reveal certain new opportunities and emerging applications. Like this. Development in science and technology. Changes in the markets, both national and international. Changes in government policy. Changes in social patterns, population profile, lifestyle, taste and preferences of the people. Merger, joint ventures, strategic alliances on geopolitical and public-private partnerships. Unfulfilled customer need. Opportunities to add value to increase profit margin, new business model. Now, when you see these things, so these are opportunities for you as an entrepreneur, as a banker, as an individual, as a company to explore with. Now, maybe you have some strengths, some weaknesses. Then with these opportunities, you can reduce the weakness. You can attack some of your weakness. And these opportunities could be explored through the strengths you have. There is a beauty here. First, you understand what are the opportunities. Then you try to maximize those opportunities using the synthesis you have. Maybe example, if you see the government policy these days that they are promoting exports, discouraging imports, then sometimes if you have, say, some cash in your hand, financial resources in your hand, where you can lend to customers, then you have a very clear strategy to promote exports. So you can curtail some other sectors or trade into imports, and that funds could be easily channeled to agri and export related businesses, where you know exactly you can get more return. Because why? The government is supporting the export sector. So those are the, the opportunities available in the market, in the industry. As a banker, so it's very important to understand these opportunities available and then work on those occasions. Last one, threats. Threats again coming from the environment, and this might have impact to your overall strategy, or maybe threats could be a kind of a hindrance to your growth, or again this could further improve the weaknesses of your organization. So you need to be vigilant. What are the threats generally that we can come across? Demand could be changed. New technology could come into the operation. New regulations by the government, or maybe government subsidies could be disadvantage to you. Increased taxation, changing product and service specifications, economic sustainability, non-technical weakness, right? Those are the threats that you can find in a kind of a given environment. So basically what we are trying to understand here is what are the synthesis, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So when you ask about write a short note on SWOT, you need to say what is threat, and these are some of the examples. That way we can get the maximum marks for this type of a question. Right. Before we are coming to this exercise, any questions? Any questions? Yeah. Abhishek is asking a question. Can we take the recent Twitter Bitcoin scam as an emerging threat to businesses which use social media as one of the advertising tools? Yes. This is something about, coming from issues, problems, threats in a IT platform. Anyway, now when you have these type of thing, this may not be common to one or two businesses, right? It may be common to everybody. It's a general threat because these things could happen then and there, even future also. Right, then what could be the controlling point could be, then we try to see whether anything that you can safeguard our transactions or whatever through some other controlling mechanism, or whether we can use some alternative marketing channels are some of the things, the way forward. Or rather than IT support, you need to have some alternative approach also to attack or control these things, because these type of things even could come up in the future also, because we talk about, social media and, emerging technologies and all that. So there may be so many other things also could be cropped up in future also. So you need to be vigilant on that. Let's say you are into the e-commerce, e-marketing, I mean, social media marketing. So then it's a like, plus minus in both sense, right? You see these days, like even the elections also now move into that IT, like social media platform. I mean, whatever goes, happening in the next second, it's in the social media. I mean, very difficult to, control sometimes, because the damage could be huge. Whether you come up and say in personal note, I'm telling, come up and say this is wrong and this is the correct perspective, a particular situation, you may be too long. I mean, you are delayed to come and justify that, because the message has gone right now. So like that in business also, there may be threats like that you were mentioning about Twitter, Bitcoin, and there may be some other things also could be on the cards. So you need to be vigilant how my IT system, how my marketing system, how my alternative marketing techniques could be used to manage these type of things. That is what in a business perspective that we need to do, because we can't stop these things forever or eternally, because it's not practical, because there may be so many other things also could come when you are trying to stop one sort of scam like this. So obviously this is the kind of emerging threat that you are talking about, because in social media, lesser controls, new threats also could be there if you are onto the social media platform. Any other questions? Right. So then we just wanted to get a further idea on the SWOT tool, because sometimes even exam situations also, we've been asked to conduct a SWOT analysis on a given project, right? And then present your information, right? So we'll take 15-20 minutes among us, and then we start the kind of exercise, and then we see whether in case of exam are we in the right spirit to answer that kind of question. So what I am planning to do so is we try to take a kind of a bank, and then we conduct a kind of a SWOT analysis. Ideally it's among group, but here that we don't have a group that could be formed because we been online. So we try to do it individually, and then together that we discuss and we list it and see whether how well that we can apply the SWOT analysis in a kind of given situation. So I suggest here we take, say, Bank of Ceylon, and we try to understand some strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Say 3 strengths, 3 weakness, 2 opportunities, or 2 threats, like altogether when then we have 10 points. So let's start. You can speak up, or you can send me through the chat as a message. Then I can list it here, and then finally we can discuss that. So we take a Bank of Ceylon as an entity, and then as an organization. Let's say now when you are looking as a analyst, what you think the strengths of the Bank of Ceylon right now is having, but always think about in comparison, because ideally I was telling you, yes, you can list it down, but when you are thinking about a comparison, then it will make a kind of a correct the platform. But here we don't have much time to compare that. Later you can do it. Say we start with the Bank of Ceylon, take another private bank, Pan Asia. You list some strength, weakness, opportunity set for the Bank of Ceylon, and similarly Pan Asia, and then you see comparably what are the strengths over Bank of Ceylon as against the Pan Asia. So that is the final SWOT matrix that you need to come up. So you can do it at home, But for the time being, we take Bank of Ceylon. In absolute perspective, we try to mention what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And also we keep in the light that we are, are trying to see the absolute points also in comparable with the kind of a banking sector organization, right? So let's stick to some synthesis, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So it is synthesis in the Bank of Ceylon. Right. Let's come up with some synthesis. You can mention me in the chat. What could be the? Yeah, Tarushika was telling me it's a government bank. You can write it down at your own book. So I also mentioned here, it's we'll say a government bank, government what do you call links, strength. Right? It could be a government bank. It is linked to the government. It has the government strength, affiliated as a government. So these are some of the positives. It says that yes, Saman Mali was telling a stability, right? Is another point. Stable, stability. I mean higher asset base. I will put it as stability, higher asset base. Gayan was telling digital platform, BF, SPU to cover transaction banking as well as having more outlets. Then Abhishek was telling systematically important bank, right? So that again say move to digital platform. Systematically important. That is what Abhishek was telling is systematically, because it's a big bank and banking system is basically governed, or banking system dependent on the Bank of Ceylon, like, right? And then brand image, again coming from Gayan, 50 years of establishment. Sanjeev was telling ₹1 trillion in advances. That is what I was mentioned, stability, high asset base, and then we say brand. High brand. So we have so many syntheses, large number of branches, asset base, and again say branch network. Very good. So we have so many syntheses. So then we move to the weakness. Again, Gayan was telling about experienced staff, I must say here. Experienced staff. Right. Let's move to the weaknesses, right? So let's see what are the weaknesses. Right? Weaknesses. I mean, you can't see the you see the mirror image, but for your understanding, I will repeat it. But we have mentioned in the synthesis: experienced staff, government bank, government links, government strength as the second point, stability, higher asset base, move to digital platform, systematically important bank, higher brand name, higher branch network. Those are the syntheses that you have identified as the Bank of Ceylon SWOT analysis as one particular quadrant. Now we move to the second quadrant, that is weakness. What are the weakness? You can suggest it. I will write it down and then I will explain, repeat it for you to get it noted. What are the right? Sanjeev was mentioning governance influence in management decision. So decision. on while taking decisions, government influence is there. So when it means like not like private bank, they need to depend on what government says. Example, maybe a credit line comes. I mean, sometimes whether it's good or bad, they need to work on that. They need to deliver. They need to go to customers and give. Whether there may be NPL or risk perspective, you might not be in a position to say reject, but you have to go and grant it because it's a government direction. Because it's a plus point could be government link, government set behind, and then when you are taking decisions, there may be government influence is behind them. Any other points on the weaknesses? Right, generation gap between staff. Yes, very good point. Because if you are say it's not like the private banks here, that there is a kind of a higher gap in generation. So there may be employer what do you call motivation, employer knitting together kind of thing may be absent. So you might say a gap in generation gap. Employees. And then right, Abhishek was telling decisions, yes, government influences also one thing, and delay. What he was telling is, there may be delay in decisions because higher stakeholders is involved, because government and so many, and then decisions are being taken with a delay. Could be fair enough, right? Certain then Gayan's telling slow adoption of digital platform compared to huge investment. Yes, slow moving, slow adoption. Digital. Because there may be infrastructure gaps, IT gaps, different systems. But if you want to go to digital, I mean, very quickly, like a smaller bank, they can't do, right? Then Sanjeev telling reluctant to adopt new changes or need technology. Yes, so staff reluctance for digital platform, because maybe the reason is there may be a kind of a generation gaps. Maybe older generation, they may prefer to move whatever existing technologies and all that, so they may not be digital savvy. The new guys, new girls and boys, they prefer for that. So then they are depending on their appetite. There may be overall delay, reluctance in moving to the digital platform. With new digital platform, bank is vulnerable to internal frauds and scams until internal controls put over time. There maybe it's common to some other, but due to delay kind of thing, there may be IT system risk. Right. Very good. Then move to some opportunities or threats. So we are here. Fourth quadrant, what are the threats? Now, Bank of Ceylon, again, now we need to think about, there are bigger bank, government bank, maybe branded, so many branches, but there may be threats also for them also, because they are in the banking sector. What are the threats that you expect? You can speak up, you can send messages through chat. When others send the messages, you can see it in the chat column. You can write it down then and there as well, right? One thing Sanjeev mentioning, yeah, Tarushika was telling competition. Yes, higher competition. And then Gayan is to tell about yeah, again competition and the market share coming down because other banks are there to grab their market share. Higher NPA, it's a threat. NPA, and I will add the Sanjeev on that, the higher impairment. That is due to market situation. IT threats like hacking threats. IT, hacking. New entrants, yes, new entrants could be like, say, market share coming down is a new entrance. I will put those together, like coming the market share down with the new entrants. Yeah, low margins, right? Margins coming down, that's again threat. In other way, we said also we have reduced the deposit rates, but still, when the interest rates come down, the margin come down, then you need to be a bit efficient or bit productive if you want to make a kind of a impact on the bottom line, right? Very good. Tarushi is coming like subsidiary products and services. Yeah. Thank you very much. And then we will move to opportunities. Prior to that, I will list it again, the threats, so that if you want to write it down. First one is higher competition. Second one could be new entrants, and then reduction of the market share. Third one, higher NPAs, higher impairment costs due to economic and market situation. IT threats due to hacking. Low margins, margins coming down. Substitutes products and services available. So it's a threat for a bank like Bank of Ceylon. And again, just to summarize the weaknesses, decisions could be influenced by the government because it's a government bank, and also decisions could be delayed due to so many stakeholders. There is a generation gap among the employees, so that they are not in a same cohesive mode to run the, work as a one bank. Slow adoption. Adoption is slow because it's a digital platform. Adoption slow because due to one thing is the government, so the age gap, or maybe staff reluctance because they are technically they are not very thorough, digital savvy. That's what the fourth point. And IT system risk also, it could be a weakness. So there may not be foolproof because different systems. Then there may be some risk of impact due to threats, viruses, or some other issues, because so many systems in a kind of a bank where it's a bigger bank, until you move to a common platform, you might have some issues under the weaknesses. Right. Now we end opportunities. It's up to you again. What are the opportunities for Bank of Ceylon in today's context? If they are thinking about a new strategy, new product, new market, right? Maybe something that they want to do new, and then we are trying to understand the SWOT. What are the opportunities for them? Can get the government businesses lending to government projects. It could be very good point, because with the new government, now they like promote more local entrepreneurs. Yesterday or day before also I saw President telling local engineers, local entrepreneurs come and undertake construction project. So then when the local government, local entrepreneurs into the operation, so then the Bank of Ceylon could be finance them. So then we can say new government policy, right? Policy created new lending opportunities. That's all. Then Tarushika was telling the employees are their customers can offer alternative products. Yes, for alternative products to government. Government employees. Just to clarify this, when you say alternative products, maybe government, most of the government employees are bankers to Bank of Ceylon. Sometimes they don't have this internet banking or whatever, easy pay. So many things. Even credit card may not be having everybody. But Bank of Ceylon can take an initiative to sell, promote those products, which again make a more wallet size improved, as well as they may not be coming into the branches, and instead they can do enhanced transaction using these new products. Saman Mali was mentioning about international market. Yes, say opportunities in international market. Here Saman Mali not immediately because it's COVID impact and all that. We need in maybe medium to long term, yes, because Bank of Ceylon like stable, asset rich, so they can go to the international market and do the lending. Yes, Port City, Sanjeev was telling about long-term loans for infrastructure development. Maybe I can put it, cluster it the first one, because Port City and highways and all that, so they can now finance, they can do the funding. Geographically scattered in India and London, yes, they can go to the international market. So opportunities in international market, because now here they have well spread. Now they can go to like Maldives and Bangladesh like that, and then they can move to London and the other countries. Can penetrate rural markets with branch network before others. Yes, that could be, because right now they have a very good branch network. Then they can, have a superior, or presence, or say competitive advantage over others in reaching rural community, because it's an opportunity. Because now if like when you want to grow, yes, you have a rural base, and then with the market, the economy is coming up, they can go to these unbanked community, or rural community, compared to other institutions in a better way, because they have branch network, solid, located, scattered, right? Yeah, fee-based income, ATM and POS network. Very good point. They can enhance fee-based network through POS and the ATM. Even though they can't do it immediately, but with this ATM and POS, that if you can introduce more technology perspective, then coming to a branch and all that, so they can reduce that cost, and they can move to this, and even island wide they can do it, and they can earn a free income also, depending on how the transaction goes. So very good. I think we have come up with very good points. Just to summarize on the opportunities, a new government policy created new lending opportunities like infrastructure lending, port, city, highways, and all that. That's a very good opportunity for Bank of Ceylon to move in medium to long term. Alternative products to government employees, because right now so many government employees are banking with them, and they can come up with alternative products rather than traditional products. They can come up with alternative, even loans also, right? Maybe there may be housing loans, but you can make some tweaks, some differences, some modification to the loans, housing loan, and then you can sell it to existing or maybe upcoming or new coming government servants, so that you can make a better loan portfolio. Opportunities in international market, it could be branching to new financing requirements. I mean, again, you need to wait some time and see whether how it comes due to pandemic. With the pandemic is over, then you can go to those markets and get a kind of a fair share among the other banks in the international arena, where you are stable bank, so the acceptance is high among the peer international banks. Competitive advantage over others in reaching rural community, because the Bank of Sindh still, it's the people think it's a government bank, it's my bank, our bank, so that perception is there among the rural community. So compared to other private banks, they can go to this and get the most out of it through different products and different services. Last one, they can increase their fee-based income through the post and ATMs, because in today's context, it is good that as much as you earn income as a fee than interest income, right? So when you say fee income, you don't have to incur further capital, but you get an income. But when you try to achieve interest income, you need to give away money to the customers. But here you need not to give the money, but you can get the fee income based on using these fee-based activities, right? So very good exercise. I think you have got the kind of the concept very well, and this is what exactly we need in an exam situation. They might ask us to say do a SWOT analysis. Let's say hotel project. SWOT analysis, garment factory. SWOT analysis about tea factory. So you need to think, and then what you could do right now is, since that we have done for a bank, take one or two projects. Could be apartment project, that could be maybe international school, could be like hotel, rice milling, like that. Take one project and apply this kind of a exercise. If it is like an international school, if it's like a tea factory, it's a hotel, may not be difficult, because generally we know so many things. But when you talk about a particular paddy or tea factory, paddy miller, may not be, because we might not have a data to that extent. But if you are right, exactly you are doing the kind of project, yes, you will be able to get the data. But here you might not be able to do it. Like if it's a project is like a very micro, but take maybe hotel, maybe international school, because you generally when you say a hotel, you try to compare with the hotel to a hotel. When you say international school, you try to compare international school with another international school, or international school with a government school, right? In that context, so think it and put down some SWOTs. Then it get a more idea about how to apply in case of exam. If it comes, then since I have done some exercises, we are in a position to understand whatever the given situation, right? Any questions? You want me to share the board also? Otherwise, is it enough that you have got it done through this? Since it is on the chat, that is it you need to share the board again, or can we proceed? Can we proceed? Okay, thanks, Abhishek. Right, so basically what we have done here is we try to understand the SWOT analysis in terms of what is SWOT analysis, why it is important. We are going to define the SWOT, and then we try to internalize it further by using SWOT into kind of a bank, Bank of Ceylon as an example, and we did it like a class exercise, right? So then I also mentioned that how it could come to exams also. Later that if today or next week that we will try to discuss the kind of exam questions in terms of SWOT and PESTEL, what the examiner has requested us to do so, and what type of answers that we need to give, right? In addition, Sanjeev and Tarushika also has putting down some points that you can mention. You can get it noted for as some kind of supplementary notes here. Sanjeev was telling growing number of educated people, students, so future there is a potential for entrepreneurships, related loans and other financial products. Very good. So it basically he's telling about future new products. It's opportunity for any bank, Bank of Ceylon in especially. Tarushika mentioning more long-term deposit through minor accounts, because that's another sort of since the interest rates have come down these days, and then you can target the minor minor accounts, and then get the money for a longer term period, because you know that right now the savings rates are 3-4%, FDs are 8%. Then if you pay something 7-8% for the minor, as against you were paying 10% sometime back, then you can get a kind of a low cost funds. That's another business or the product opportunity the Bank of Ceylon could explore. Right. Thank you so much for your active contribution. And then having said that, so we move to the next topic, that is basically PESTEL analysis. Right. So we discussed about SWOT, that is a tool technique we can use to scan the internal and external environment of an organization, business, project. But when it comes to the PESTEL, it's a bit different. It's going beyond a particular project, particular situation, particular business, particular individual. It tries to talk about a bigger sphere, bigger perspective. It talks about the environment, the industry you are in, the market you are in. So that again, a kind of a difficulty we may face when we try to understand the external environment in detail. So that is the the difficulty in PESTEL analysis, right? External factors helps you to think about their impact. I'll just explain it with the example, and then we move to the further discussion. Say in a hotel or international school, bank, we can easily do SWOT analysis like what we have done here. But when you are trying to undertake a PESTEL analysis with respect to bank, it is not practical. It's not doable. But you can do a PESTEL analysis in terms of banking industry. That's a difference. Earlier, we were talking about Bank of Ceylon, and Bank of Ceylon, we go to SWOT. Easy to understand, figure out. We did it in quick interval without wasting much time. There may be arguable points, but you could have done it without any researching. But later you can do some researching and you can exactly come in what is the strength, what is exactly weaknesses. You can argue and still you can come without a much, bigger effort. But when it comes to the banking industry, it is not easy now. Banking industry is huge. It's big. Now you need to think a lot on political perspective, economic perspective, social perspective, technological perspective, legal perspective, environmental itself perspective, and then you have to comment saying banking industry is high, high risk, medium risk, low risk. You getting my point? That is what we need to do by deploying the PESTEL analysis. right? Similarly, hotel. We talk about a hotel, SWAT, not a big deal. We have done it. 5-star hotel in Negombo, Puttlam, Kalpitiya. But yeah, you need a big research and you can do it. You may get some idea about, you know, the hotels, other hotels area kind of thing, and general trend of the people, Sri Lankan outside. So you can do a fair amount of exercise to see what are SWOT. But when come to the environment, hotels are located, hotels are based in tourism industry. Then when you say tourism industry, it's not easy to scan it out now. Tourism industry, what happened? What would be the future of the tourism industry? Then you need to think about what is the political, economical, social, technological, law, legal, and environmental impact. And then you come up with, in the short term, high risk industry. Medium term, medium risk. Long term, it could be low. Immediately, it's a high risk now because no tourist, COVID impact, government support is there, but there are maybe internal factors are there. I mean, so many negatives. How you come across the negative may not be easy. You research it to outside Sri Lankan boundaries also. You never know what their perception is. Sometimes EU would come and say Sri Lankan is not, you know, cleared enough to travel. Some kind of travel ban due to COVID. But we think here, so we are happy with that. So everything is under control, so they can come. But when you say outside, some countries still, you know, they are not in a position to ask their people to travel within Sri Lanka. So some international perspective. So for that, what our, you know, our government is doing, there could be a kind of a game changer here. So like that, I just want to share this. Basically, this is not easy job. This is difficult job. But this is needed. This is needed. Why? When you talk about undertaking a project financing, say apartment, yeah, you can do a SWOT analysis, internal, external environments. So quickly you do it, and just to see whether it's a profitable or it's a like a feasible venture. You come up with something, yes, it's something feasible. But then you think about what could be the general environment in housing industry, apartment industry. So then you come up with about markets, about government regulations, about customer taste and differences, about customer requirements, about legal rules, environmental rules. Now it's not so great, right? Individually, a project very good, good promoters, enough money, good contractors, you know, good locality. So everything is fine. I mean, it's coming at a bargain. So that the project alone, very good, high equity, right? So everything is okay. But then you think about what could be the potential demand under the COVID, post-COVID, pre-COVID, what the customer preferences, are they willing to come to like, you know, Colombo like, or they want to be outside, what could be the locality, and what could be the future competition. There may be some more projects coming in and around another year or so. So then you think about, you know, environment is not conducive. So how you found that is using this PESTEL. You got my point? So that is basically the application of the PESTEL analysis, the importance of the PESTEL analysis, significance of the PESTEL analysis, right? So PESTEL, again, useful tool, understand the big picture. By understanding environment, you can take advantage the opportunities and minimize threat. Remember, SWOT also talks about external environment. Here, they go further scanning of this external environment, and then they try to maximize the opportunities outside here and minimize the threats. In order to do that, you exactly know what is my environment is, what is the industry is. This provides the context within which more detailed planning can take place to take full advantage of the opportunities that present themselves. Because having known to the detailed facts in the industry, now you can take a more structured, strategic approach towards the project, towards to achieve your plan. That is the kind of objective of this PESTEL analysis. Generally, when the examiner asks about what is PESTEL, why it is important, you can answer using whatever the discussion we done so far. And the when you say PESTEL stands for PESTLE, you need very important slide, because sometimes he might ask you to describe or list, briefly describe PESTEL. So you can use this slide with the points as it is, so that you can get maximum marks. Any questions? Right. P, political. It talks about generally stability, trends, political situation in a given country, given situation. Whether it's political turmoil, political instability, then it has obvious impact on a particular industry, particular project. Let's say currently, if you take tourism industry, in political perspective, actually, they are supporting, right? They try to, anyhow open the airport. They try to give some concession towards the tourism industry through banks and other, because they want to, uplift, the tourism industry, because it's like, making big money to Sri Lanka. So political support is there right now, if you take in political perspective. Economic, local, national, world economic impact. If you see this, there's the economic impact towards the tourism industry is huge. Not local, even international per se. You have big economic issues because customer purchasing, bargaining, spending power are very low. Hotels are running at very low scale. Not local people are also visiting because of this pandemic, and international tourists have not even thought about moving. I mean, we never know that when can we have that impact reverse. So economically, very serious situation. Then sociological, ways in which changes in society affect the project. How the people perceive, how the people trends change, their taste, preferences. So what could be the impact on the social perspective created towards the particular project, particular industry. Techno, emerging technology, upcoming technology, changes in the technology. We talk about Bank of Ceylon, banking industry, digital technology. Now it's like everybody is like talking about. So you can't say that we are not for that. Our staff is not digital savvy. We wanted to run like this. No, sometimes you may not be in a position to do that. So anyhow, you need to take a kind of a challenge, and even phase by phase that you need to go to the next level using digital fact flow. Legal, local, national, global legislation. What could be the impact, right, in a project, in the environment, in the industry? So whether they are user friendly, whether the business friendly, any changes, right? So those are the things that you need to worry about. Finally, environmentally, like local, national, and global environment. What could be the local, national, and environment impact? where sometimes, some countries, in terms of environmental rules are very tough. In terms of tourists, in terms of hotels, in terms of tourism, hospitality industry. So environmental rules has to be followed. To take in Sri Lanka recently also, when you are putting up apartments, the environmental factors may have not looked into great, but later stage, that due to some 1 or 2 incidents, now the environmental factors are very critical, right? How that you are managing the environment impact due to this project. So it's a do or die sometimes, because you might not give an approval if you are not putting the things in environmental friendly way. These are the 6 items, 6 letters that you should be aware with. PESTLE, right? Pestle analysis. And then you need to know that how these are working in a kind of project, in a kind of a given industry. And then you have to come back and say external environment is risky, external environment is moderate risky, external environment is less risky. Then as a project analyst, you are in a position to proceed with. That's how it basically happening. Okay. Any questions? Any thoughts? Any questions? Yeah, good question, Gayan. It will depend on the analyzer skills. Yes, that's why we always telling a project infrastructure, a project officer is roles is bit of complex. You need bit advanced skills to perform as a project officer. Generally, we have so many credit officers, lenders, and all that, but they may not be sophistically, thorough with all project financing skills, right? So that's why we are learning as this project financing or development financing as a separate module. Now you might understand that sometimes what sort of you need to have so many skills, like you need to know about accountancy, marketing to management to economics and all that, right? A bit of that knowledge, plus you need to research it to great extent, right? So that's why sometimes we see when you are trying to approve a project, it takes about more than 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. The amount is also huge, 500, 1 billion, 2 billion, like that. Actually, I have forgot to tell you something. When we undertake projects, we undertake this pestle analysis beyond some point. Like if the facility is less than 50 million, we might not be in a position to undertake pestle analysis, because one thing is it's costly, time taking, as you were telling, because it needs a good analytical skills. Right? Then if you are like a moderate analyzer, so probably you might not be able to do a detailed analysis. But when again, the facility is 1 billion, 2 billion, 500 billion, you need a good analyzer with good analyzing techniques, and then do a kind of a proper study. Having said that, I must also tell you, because in order to do that, you need to have so many supporting techniques, supporting tools, like industry analyst, or maybe central bank publications, statistical department data, some other researches done by the other individuals. So you need to read through and get an idea. But the classic example, when you talk about the tourism industry, So we might say, some are negative, right? All the things that we see are some threats, or maybe a negative, or negative inferences. But sometimes you can see some opportunities also. Recently, I heard about medical tourism, what it means. Because if you say COVID, for example, there are some people who is willing to come and station a country like Sri Lanka to get quarantine, to get some kind of a medicine here, right? Maybe at a relatively low cost, or they prefer this type of initiatives. So it could be in a tourism perspective. So you can make a kind of a charter something and dedicated hotel, or convert it to a hospital kind of thing. So you do the same thing, but it makes income, because they may not be visiting other places, but they station and get the things done in a more Sri Lankan style, which they like it, to admire the nature, people. So it's a different something. The peace of mind, and you can do some yoga to whatever other sort of things also, right? You understand? So it's something, a new thing that you can think about, a new product, new service within the hotel industry, because some other countries cannot afford that, cannot offer it this time, but you can do it this way. So this comes to analyzer. Let's say that he is kind 5-star hotel. Now, when you have a hotel these days, what we have done is we have converted to even quarantine center, and you can make an income these days, because you don't have any occupancy. So probably that one will work. Or sometimes when you say that you are located in like Gold or whatever something, and you see some people coming to Mattal and then Gold, and then there are what do you call, for the security perspective, so they use that, and then we call they are working as security people in ships. So they, or maybe they on board and to ships through Gold. They come to Mattal and like that. So then there may be lucrative opportunity for a hotel located there, keep the crew maybe 1 day or 2 days, and then have some transportation arrangement with Mattala to like that. So it's a kind of package. I mean, those days that the people may go to here and there, and they stay and they go to the Gold. But right now you can't do this, pandemic situation. So you can make use of that, and you can have a negotiation with a particular country, and so the regular sort of guys, maybe what do you call, shipping crew, and you give a kind of hotel accommodation, and it's another segment, right? When you say everything is down, this is a kind of opportunity. So that's coming from even in a pandemic situation. So like that, those things could come to not only entrepreneur, but the analyzer's mind also. And how is basically that you can acquire through your experience. But nobody would come with all the qualification, and day one you can do a kind of a very detailed and comprehensive analysis. Obviously you need a kind of a knowledge followed by the experience, right? In a bank, let's say you are working in infrastructure division, project financing division, you might have come across so many similar proposals. Maybe your predecessors may have done that. You are like the peers, you have done it, and you refer it, and you also done some research on existing. You know what exactly done, what went wrong, and those things also with you. Then you come up those information, and you go with the customer with the kind of a checklist. Generally, what we do is, when you're understanding further on this presentation, when we're discussing, you see, under political, under economical, we have a checklist. So when we are interviewing, when we are investigating a project, we see there are 10-15 items on the political. So which are relevant, which are not relevant. So otherwise everything may not be coming into your mind. Maybe 5 million, 10 million, 15 million loan when you are interviewing an entrepreneur. Yes, obviously you get everything, right? But here, bit complex. So how we are going to approach is, you have a checklist, and you contrast with the customer's project proposal with this checklist. What is we need new, what is sufficient, what is the needs improvement area, and then that's how we move forward, the analyzing things. Or maybe, yeah, you need a good analyzer, and also you need to have kind of this data, the research, which already in the bank or maybe outside also. And you do this checklist comparison, contrasting thing when analyzing the projects. Any other questions? Okay. This is anyway then PESTEL. So we need to know each letter stands for, what each letter stands for, and then PESTL. And this is again, I've seen in some question papers also, very important slide. You can mark it and proceed. So PESTEL versus SWOT. Contrast to a SWOT, PESTEL encourages you to think about the wider environment. What might be happening now and future, either benefit or be disadvantage to the organization or individual, etc. So that's what we have been discussing so far. PESTEL is a kind of radar which picks up trends and developments in the external environment, which can be used to inform longer-term planning and strategy making. That is the most important thing. Not today, it's all about future planning, future trends identification, right? That is the, the advantage of the PESTEL, and also the difficulty in conducting the PESTEL compared to the SWOT. But SWOT may not be so great, so complex, anybody can understand. I mean, we also did a kind of exercise within, I must say, 15-20 minutes, come up with, nicely, because you come up, because you know a general about Bank of Ceylon, you came up nicely with your ideas within, less than 1 minute, right? Within seconds, right? But when you say banking industry, that's not so easy. You can't say the fiscal policy, monetary policy, interest rates coming down, changes of the people's thinking, right? And then digital platforms are not very easy. You can just say, but when you have to bring it down and get exact thing, when you talk about the environment. So that is the, difficult, because it goes long way. It's not immediate future. It talks about medium to long-term planning. So it should be stand for future also. So that's the difficulty. Right. Actually, I'm not going to discuss these things in detail, because we will keep these things fresh for the next week. That is, as I was telling about a detailed checklist on PESTEL, because these are very important and you need to memorize also. So we will discuss one by one next week, because when you understand the political, they might talk about, what do you mean political? So this is what exactly the checklist I was mentioning. So here I have given only 8 points here, but there may be so many points there under the political, and you need to check it and come up and say a political, which is risky, not risky, medium risky. If the political situation is not stable and then it's risky, then you can't even think about a project. So that is the criticality of this particular model, right? Like economic, then you can think about sociological, technological, legal, environmental, and then we can think about what are the issues and those things later. So any questions? Because that since we have some more time, we can think about some questions what we have done so far, and then we can start it fresh from the PESTEL in detail next week. After that, we can do a kind of a question in the September 2018 paper, which is relevant to SWOT and PESTEL. But if you can, I will ask them to upload it here also. I think we have shared it here. You can go through it and you can do it alone. That is very good, because since we have done a SWOT, see whether that you can do it alone, the kind of answer for that, because we need to write it and practice before going to exams also. Any questions on what we have done so far? Okay, apparently no questions. So then what I can again just to give a kind of thoughts, since that we have not yet informed about the exam date, then we can't wait until the last moment to do questions. If you can start some the past paper questions, since that we have done a couple of sessions from SME banking to microfinancing, break-even, working capital, and financial analysis. I think there may be 50-60% of past papers are coming from that area. So if we can take last 3 to 4 year past papers, and then I think it's in the Google Drive also, try to attempt at least 1 or 2 questions in the particular area, right? Or what you could do is, let's say take SME banking and see whether what are the all possible questions given under particular area, and cluster it and see, have a one main question, right? Or let's say 3-4 papers, take everything and see, there may be repetitions also. What are the areas the examiner has given under SME banking? Say SME definition, SME banking, the products, then issues, remedies, like that. You list it down. Organizations supporting SME, sources of financing, types of sources, like that. You list it down and see whether answers are there with our notes, reading materials, or in the past paper itself. And then complete answer for SME banking, microfinancing, working capital. In that way, you know exactly to see what I should refer when maybe for the SME banking. Or if you can't, keep it in a writing form, you can say SME banking. So SME issues, paper, so and so this question. SME definition, paper, so and so this question. Like if you do in this way, so it is very easy to refer in a kind of do a revision. So otherwise what happens is, then when you come to the final level, then you know about SME banking definition, you need to refer everything. But I mean, you can't do that. You have a kind of a summary where, let's say, SME and SME definition, refer 2018 paper, question number 3A. So if you not remember that, you just go it and come back. Then you know that. So like that, you have to have some short note in the form of clustering past papers. Why I'm telling that is because when you see all past papers, at least 30-40% are repetitive questions in different form. So if you could do at least last 3 to 4 year past papers, then there is an automatic qualification that you're going through the exam, passing through the exam. So you can't do it at the last minute. Since we have time, since we have some past papers, let's start it. So take the SME banking, take the sources of financing, take the microfinance, which is very easy question, right? Every time we see a kind of a question, and see what are the areas the examiner has given us. And then you cluster it. And if you do have any question, please let me know when we undertake the particular question, so I can further elaborate on that. Because suggested answers may not exactly, sufficient, but when you refer the suggested answers with the reading material and the presentation, we then will be able to find a, complete answer. That is what generally I, advise you, because otherwise what happens is, you come in and you listening and you interacting with me, but when going to the exam, we can't, give that 100% as examiner is asking. That may be we are lacking in understanding the examiner's style and understanding the examiner's question. So most proactive way is get the question, cluster it, and have, say, SME banking as one umbrella, and then see what are the all areas the examiner has given us. Later, when we are undertaking questions, I will also give my version of, say, a kind of understanding the question. But before that, you start your own way, because then it's easy, right? And then you can think about what exactly examiner has not asked me and what he could ask. Like, let's say, when you talk about SME banking, So everything is there, but he has not asked about new trends in SME banking, right? Or digital driven products he might not have asked about. So alternative products he have not asked. So think about what are those things, because now in your grid, whatever, these areas has not been tested. So these are probable, credit lines and all that. So these days, government is giving so many credit lines. So recent past, we have not seen any credit line questions. Then is a credit line is a probable question. What are the credit lines available in the market? Right? What are the credit lines available? I mean, by the banks itself, by the central bank itself. So you then work on those. You be ready before going to the exam. Hope you are getting me. I have one question. I will check with Gayan on the authorities, because now earlier they were telling me that they were kind of some technical sort of thing, but see whether at least if they can upload it rather than weeks, can it makes within days. So I will even today right now I'll ask them to see whether they could do, because I also seen that sometimes I have formed a couple of groups and then I try to upload, but when the thing is when we done the lecture on 20, so it's available on 30 or 31st. So then we have done some other lectures. I will try to attend Gayan on that. I'm not, I can't promise it, but I will, raise your concern with the authorities even today itself. Any other questions? Right. So again, thank you very much, because I don't want to rush it, because we have some time. So that's why I want to take it the next week about the PESTEL in detail, because it's again very important technique. So as I mentioned, that if you can start some kind of exam preparations from today onwards, it's great, because don't wait for the last moment. Yes, we do all the past paper questions, but I prefer it's coming your work, right? When you are starting it, then you know exactly what the examiner is thinking, what the question, what could be the next question that he's asking me. So you are there, right? Because this is an easy subject, pass rates are more than 65-70. So everybody, I mean, I'm sure that everybody would pass, but only thing is you need to score at A or B pass. Otherwise, no point of staying with me for 2 hours Sunday morning, not even at home, right? So try to make a kind of a difference. Again, thank you very much. So have a nice week ahead. So we'll meet next Sunday as usual. Okay, have a good day.